there. This is the Gaming Files. My name is Chris, and this is a show all about gaming, anything about gaming, everything about gaming. Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, feelings, whatever it is, we talk about it. As long as it's gaming, we'll talk about it, because gaming is, well, gaming. Don't know what else to say about it, but it's gaming. Gaming is fun, gaming is good, gaming is great. Sounds like a song. And yes, it is. This is WXBH, AM 1190, the talk station, and www.wxbh.com. There are many ways to contact us. If you're listening on the internet, the best way is to go to www.thegamingfiles.com and just take a look there, and you can actually see the whole listing of every single option. If you're, if you don't feel like going there, I'll tell you right now what they are. You can call in, toll-free nationwide, 888-254-9924. Or if you're listening on the internet, you can IM me. My screen name for AOL Instant Messenger is Gaming Files, just all one word. Or you can do, for MSN Messenger, just do a search for the email address chris@wxbh.zzn.com. That's what I use for that instant messenger. You can use either one. They both are open. I haven't forgotten them. They are going. Everything's here, so don't have to worry about it. Today is a special day. It's there's a couple of games that I've really enjoyed throughout my gaming career, and one company in particular, and that would be Blizzard Entertainment. They've made a lot of good games. Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, all the whole series of those. And even some older games, like there was Rock and Roll Racing, I believe, if I remember correctly, for Super Nintendo, long time ago. They've done a lot of games, more than I can even remember. I've probably played most of them. But we have Bill Roper, who's the VP of Blizzard North. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a nice day today. Haven't gotten any rain yet. Had a little bit of thunderstorms yesterday, but today's looking good so far.
Good. It's incredibly sunny and beautiful here, and I'm in the office finishing up testing on Warcraft 3.
Oh, how's it going?
It's going great, actually. We're doing a lot of work on the single-player campaign, which is pretty amazing in its storytelling abilities, and it's great. We got everybody in down south and up north, and we're just going crazy, getting all the last polish on the car here before it goes out of the showroom.
So, well, when does it go out of the showroom?
As soon as possible.
Do you guys have an estimated date yet?
We don't. We're probably figuring end of June, beginning of July-ish. People should see. We haven't nailed down a specific date yet, but we're very, very close.
So, but I'm sure you're just looking forward to it whenever it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that people are, if based on the reaction we had at E3, people are going to be very excited when it comes out.
So, you were saying that, the single-player campaign, that's hard to say sometimes, is unique. What makes it so special and so much of a good storytelling? Because I remember, like, the Warcraft 2 campaign, it was a great campaign, but the only time the story was done was at the very beginning of your scenario when it said, go do this.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference was, in Warcraft 2, what you tended to see were static screens that kind of told you what to do, and a lot of the world and feel for the game was really brought out in the manual. With Warcraft 3, because we are doing the game in full 3D, it's really incredible. We have in-game cinematic sequences that tie in directly with the fully rendered cinematics throughout the game. We can do things that happen during the actual levels and campaigns, and little almost like interstitial things. So as you go through the gameplay, we pause, we bring in a dramatic moment at a story point that happens during your experience, and then continue right with the action. And it really infuses a lot of life and character into a strategy title, which is something we were pushing very, very hard for. So
kind of like how StarCraft did it, in that, there'd be points, you'd get to a certain point, and then the people would start talking back and forth?
I think that the biggest difference, though it is similar, is that with StarCraft, we kind of paused the action, but we couldn't do anything else other than that and play some voice files and show some portraits. Now we can do things like change the camera angle, zoom in, have units do specific actions. There's a lot of custom animations for things that happen during the story. It's very engaging and very engrossing, and it's amazing. People will come in while they're testing a campaign that they haven't played yet, and half the time they're talking about the storyline, just like they've seen a movie or a great episode of their favorite TV series, as opposed to just talking about the strategies they use to beat the level.
So it's taking what StarCraft did and just bringing it to the next step and getting a lot more into it.
Definitely StarCraft was the genesis for it, but we're really taking that to a whole new level with Warcraft 3.
Cool. I'll definitely be looking forward to that. That's going to be cool. Is there any actual voice, or is it just text that you read?
Oh, no. Everything has voice. So,
everything has voice?
Yeah, there's an amazing amount of voiceover work that's in the game. And it's really fun to go through and not only see what's happening in the game, but also hear what's happening in the game. So it's pretty fantastic amount of work that's been done to really try to bring the world of Warcraft to life.
So it's... Ooh, voice. Did you do any of the voice?
I actually did some. Just like with anything else, I have to audition at this point. So
they don't just automatically give it to you. They actually want you to go through the audition and everything too.
That's right. It's gotten to the point where I used to be able to just walk in and do whatever I wanted.
No special treatment, I guess.
That's right. Now I've got to try out just like everybody else. So it's really pretty fun now. I was able to reprise my role as the orcs. So all throughout the campaigns and the unit speeches, you'll get to hear that goofy orc voice that if you're a Warcraft fan, you grew up with.
So that was partially you?
Yeah, all the original orc voice, even back all the way in Warcraft 1, was me. And so it's a lot of fun to be able to continue doing that and just kind of keep having fun with it.
Cool. I guess it's not exactly your voice because it doesn't sound anything like it. It's been changed though, obviously.
It does get altered a little bit. Sometimes they lower it a little, but pretty much I just talk like this. So it is the orc voice. I just have to do a lot of it myself.
That's cool.
Also, you played the Medieval Man clip, which was kind of funny because we did that as a hidden track little bonus Easter egg on Warcraft 2, and that was also me. So
it was
doing the "I'm a medieval man," and that was very fun to go in and do that. So it's
that was a great little song that once it was found, everybody was playing that when they were playing the game.
Yeah, it definitely was something we wanted to do just to kind of have some fun. You know, we really feel that it's very important to enjoy yourself and make sure that people are having a great time playing the game and finding extra little things. And Warcraft's always had I think a very good sense of humor to it, and so that's something we've tried to maintain every time that we've worked on one of the games.
Yeah, like when you click on a unit enough, it makes a funny. It says something funny.
Yep, we definitely have that.
What made you guys come up with that in the first place? Because most of, StarCraft had that. All the previous Warcrafts have had it. The beta has it.
I think where that really came from is when we were working on the first Warcraft, we were coming up with unit acknowledgments and what people were going to say and how that would all work. And we really wanted to, I think, I'd like to say that we had this master plan on how we wanted to accomplish all this great comedy and drama, but I really think what happened is that when we were doing the voiceover work, Glenn Stafford, who's our head of the music and sound department, and I were sitting in a locked, closed, tight room for hours and hours and hours. It got a little loopy and just thought it might be kind of funny to have something that they said when you kept clicking on them because they were getting annoyed that you kept clicking and kept clicking and kept clicking. And so they would say, "Stop poking me," as you went through. And that kind of fell in line with everything that really that Warcraft kind of is about, just a lot of the humor and the fun in it.
So just sort of, it was something that was hidden that people didn't really find out right away, but it was just something that was a little added, I guess you could say it was another Easter egg in a way.
Well, we definitely wanted to, again, to just have some things in there that were for people to find, little enjoyments for people to just really appreciate and have fun with. And that is always, I think, a very important thing to do in these types of games, is to, in any game, I mean, games are fun. That's what they're about. And so if there's ways we can add little things to continue to make the games even more fun, I think that's a very important thing.
Yeah, that little bit of extra humor to draw your attention away from something else and
Yeah.
give you something new to think about.
That's right.
Let's see. I have an IM. Somebody wants to know about the minimum system requirements that you guys say for Warcraft 3.
Yes.
They want to know if you really think that that's going to be sufficient, or if it'll be like you'll be playing the game and it'll be really choppy and barely be able to play on those requirements.
Actually, it runs very well on there. We try to put realistic minimum system requirements. Obviously, it's not as fast as if you have a brand new high-end system.
And you'll be able to use the best quality options and the best everything.
Right. There is a lot of scalability in the game. So if you kind of turn all the buzzers and lights and bells on the minimum system requirement, it may run pretty slow depending on your system setup. But there's a lot of ways you can turn things off and get rid of some of the more sparkly shinies in the game, I guess. But it runs very, very well on the minimum system.
Cool. That's one thing I've noticed. A lot of times when people say minimum system, you can barely, if at all, play it on that. And it's so far I've noticed that Blizzard games, when they say that, it runs great on the minimum system, which is so far it's been pretty good.
Well, thanks. We definitely have worked very, very hard at that. We've tried to ensure that the games are very playable, and that's especially important, we think, to try to reach as many people as possible. We want to get more and more people into gaming, and so if we can keep that barrier to entry low in regards to system requirements, that's just going to get more and more people that are going to have a great time out there playing the game.
Cool. Warcraft 3, somebody wants to know if it's going to be on like any platforms like the PS2 or any of that. Have you guys even thought about that yet? Or
we really have had a lot of discussions in regards to what we would want to do or not do with our products in regards to next-gen platforms. And we really decided we don't want to just do straight ports. If we do something for the console, we want to make sure that it is something that was designed specifically for it. Warcraft 3, I think the biggest thing is makes great use of the interface of a mouse and a keyboard. And when you have to try to convert that control scheme over to a joypad, it just doesn't work. So we really don't have any plans to port War 3 over to any of the console systems.
So if there is going to be anything, it'll be something unique.
Yes.
Have you guys actually thought about making a game for the consoles as opposed to the PC? Because mainly what you guys have been doing now is PC, but you used to do console games.
We did. We actually got our start doing console, and we're always interested in trying to figure out a way back. We really love console games. We play console games. We really enjoy them and are always, determined at some point in our lives to get back to doing them. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future we dip our toe back in the console waters. But right now we've been just so focused on Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft, it's been tough to really think too much about it.
So at this point you're just working on the games that you're currently working on, Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft, and from there, who knows? That's right.
There's always some place we can go.
Yeah, there's always a place. You're never at a dead end.
That's right.
I have somebody that wants to know about for the Mac version. I know on your frequently asked questions, you guys said that you are, working on trying to keep them as close as possible for the PC and the Mac versions. Do you know if they're going to be at the same time or?
I know that the builds are about 1 or 2 builds behind, so I'm not positive if that means that it actually will end up being positively there for the launch on the same day. But if it isn't, it would be extremely close. So it's definitely nothing for people to worry about. I think we love our Mac gamers. We've always done a lot to keep them as up to date with those PC guys, and so it's a very important thing for us to make sure that we are really servicing all of the gamers in our communities, and so we're looking forward to bringing it out on the Macintosh, if not the same day, extremely close. I think it's just going to come down to if we have any problems with it at the end there.
Probably like within a week or two, maybe.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know the exact timing, but yeah, I mean, it would be extremely close.
Let's hope it gets really close for all those Mac users that want to be able to play the same time everybody else does.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job with that over the last couple of products, and we really look forward to continuing to making that. It's always a goal of ours at this point is to do simultaneous releases not only around the world but also on both PC and Macintosh. So those are very important gamers to us. They're incredibly loyal and a great community. And in fact, at E3, it's going to be terrible because I don't remember his last name, but his first name is Abraham, and he's the real big guy on ER. He's the intern on ER. And he actually dropped by our booth, and he's a Mac gamer. And so he was very excited to see that we were, continuing our dedication and support of the Macintosh platform. And so it's always something we've worked very hard to do, and we'll continue to do so.
That's good. I'm sure all those Mac gamers will be glad to hear that. You guys put a lot of Easter eggs in your games. Does Warcraft 3 going to have maybe an Easter egg like the Medieval Man or anything else big like that?
Well, if I told you, then it wouldn't be an Easter egg.
Well, you could just say if you have anything. Do you have something planned?
I think that there's always going to be something.
It's just Blizzard.
There's always going to be something that hopefully people won't expect when they play the game.
I guess you guys are known for doing stuff like that, so you're going to continue doing it like that.
Well, we definitely enjoy doing it and enjoy it when we see it in games.
So you'll do it to make sure everybody else enjoys it also. Considering that I have a lot of people asking about the fact that there's no naval units in Warcraft 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's two questions that go along with it. The first one is, why did you choose not to have any naval units? And is there going to be something like a raft or something that allows people to get across the water at least?
There are ways to traverse any type of terrain. Almost, you can definitely get across the water. Though a lot of times that's done with the use of air transport. Basically, the reason we did not include navies in Warcraft 3 is we just couldn't come up with something new, something interesting, something as really different as we tried to do with the rest of the game for navies. And so we didn't want to just put them in to have them in. If we ever figure out a way to include ships in Warcraft 3, we certainly would, but we'd have to make sure that it had its own unique flavor like the rest of the game does.
So maybe that might be a possibility for an expansion, maybe?
I don't know. We haven't really talked about an expansion at this point, but it definitely, definitely could be something.
So you guys haven't just completely discounted naval units. You've just decided it's not worth it at this point.
Well, it's not even that it's not worth it. Just we couldn't figure out anything that was going to really be over the top with it, and we really wanted to make it that.
Cool. I found that a lot of times the naval units were, in some cases, a little unfair, and partially I got annoyed. Like when I was going through Warcraft 2, there'd be like one sub left of the computer, and it took me hours trying to find it. So in a way, this will be nice. You won't have to be looking for that one sub that's hidden in the far reaches of the Netherlands or something.
Yeah, we've definitely tried to make it a little more friendly in those cases where we've tried to have the game be I guess a little simpler in some regards. The AI doesn't go do stuff like that where it goes and hides and makes it so you can't ever find them, and so it's definitely something that we realized was an issue and we really wanted to address.
Well, on that note, what about with the AI going and hiding? Did you also fix a problem where the AI just stands there and lets itself get killed? Because I had that happen a few times too.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time on making the AI not only much more intelligent, but making it feel more natural. We really want to have the AI feel as much like a player as we can. Obviously, it's never going to be perfect, but at the same time, we do want to make sure that that the game is as I guess organic feeling as possible. So they spent a great deal of time on the AI.
Yeah, the AI definitely plays a big part, because I know a lot of people that say, you know, if you want to learn how to play against a person, you play against a person. You don't play against the computer. Even in like the multiplayer single skirmish thing, it's not the same. You need to play against a player. And in a lot of games, that's true.
Well, I would say that's true in almost every game. There's no substitute for all the crazy stuff that people will think of.
No, but it always helps to have a good AI to at least help a little bit.
Definitely, and it does help you get used to, you know, what to possibly expect and what types of attacks you're going to see and how to use your units.
Yeah. Well, my name is Chris. This is the Gaming Files. We're talking with Bill Roper from Blizzard Entertainment. Hold on, Bill. This is going to be just a short break. Go to the restroom real quick if you got it. My name is Chris, and we'll be right back after this short break. And we're back. My name is Chris, and this is the Gaming Files on WXBH, AM 1190, the talk station, and www.wxbh.com. We are talking with Bill Roper, the Vice President of Blizzard North, about, we're talking about anything about Blizzard. Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, mainly Warcraft 3. I got a good question from on an IM during the break. I know what the answer is, but I want to ask you, Bill, what to explain it. It's I'm sure you'll know exactly. He wants to know what the Pandaren are.
The Pandaren. The Pandaren actually were a great little April Fool's joke we played. The Pandaren, there's kind of this. They were a race that we made up for April Fool's Day that said that we're going to be this hidden race in Warcraft 3. In one of the pieces of promotional artwork that Sam Didier, who's our art director, did, he put in this big, huge battle scene this kind of anamorphic samurai warrior who was a panda. Because Samwise loves that stuff. He loves the anamorphic things. And he really thought that'd be a lot of fun to do. Well, that got caught onto by some of the fan sites out there. Our very attentive and passionate community saw it. And all these rumors started up that there was pandas. And so Sammy kind of put in a couple different other places little hints to pandas just to kind of fuel those fires. And so when we were trying to figure out what to do for April Fool's Day, the guys came up with the idea of actually creating this race. Sammy had done some artwork, just for himself that tied in well with it. And so we put that in, and so it was really a lot of fun. We had an excellent time with that, and a lot of people, really thought it was hilarious. And some people, thought it might be serious too. So it's always the best kind of joke when you kind of leave people guessing.
I thought it was a cool idea, samurai panda bears. that just makes you laugh when you think about it. It's
well,
like
I'm sure they'd be fierce warriors.
Oh yeah, they'd have to be good.
Oh yeah.
And some of those screenshots you guys had from it were really good, really convincing.
Well, they definitely did a great amount of work to try to make it look authentic, and so I think that because again I think that also is really what helps sell it and leaves people kind of wondering whether or not we've gone completely insane and are putting pandas in the game.
Well, with Blizzard, maybe. Ooh, I just saw something. Maybe the pandas are actually going to be a hidden Easter egg that people can find.
Well, if we have time the next few days to put that in, we'll work that out.
Yeah, with you guys, we never know. These Easter eggs are hidden everywhere. There could very well be a whole nother race hidden or something hidden.
Well, we always like to keep people guessing, but...
hey, that's what it's all about. Keep people
right.
looking, doing things that they wouldn't normally do, thinking outside the box.
That's right.
I have a lot of people asking about this upkeep thing. They really aren't understanding exactly how the whole upkeep works with all the units and everything.
Okay.
Can you try to explain it and I guess make it understandable?
Sure. The idea behind upkeep is that as your armies grow larger, there's an overhead associated with managing them. It takes more of your resources just to maintain that large number of people. That's kind of the economic model that we're playing with there. So as you get more and more units into your army, you start hitting these milestones of where a portion of the money that you pull out of gold mines automatically, I guess you could say, goes to running your empire. So whereas normally a peasant who brings back a load of gold, you would get 10 gold from that into your resources, at some point you only get 7, then at some point you only get 4, because it's taking more and more of the money you're bringing in to actually just maintain your infrastructure. Now, you don't actually have to do anything like assign money to your infrastructure or put things there. That's all handled automatically, but what we're really trying to show is that is to try to reflect the fact that as you have more and more people that you're trying to manage in more and more structures and buildings, that it would take a certain amount of that raw resources that you would bring in.
So it's sort of a way to keep people to keep their forces a little bit on the smaller side. So when they collect resources, they're actually getting the resources to use. It's not like just going to the forces.
Right. It definitely, I think, what I've found it does for me is it really makes me think about what units I'm going to build. I do tend to still build fairly moderate, moderately large armies when I can, but at the same time, I really have to think about what it is that I'm going to do, and then how to best use my resources to try to manage my upkeep. So, and it's a really interesting another level and layer of the gameplay.
So, since we're on the topic of upkeep, why did you guys put upkeep in there instead of just allowing people to do whatever they wanted in that sense?
Well, I think that a couple of reasons. One, we felt that it was a fun gameplay dynamic because it does make you make some different choices. You can give some thought to the units you're building. You're not just, clicking the buttons incessantly, making as many of whatever guys you want. You know that it is going to have a ramification not only on getting towards the unit cap sooner, but also you'll be drawing less resources in. And we've seen some really interesting gameplay styles come out of that. Also, it does help push the focus more towards the management of smaller forces, kind of thinking about having fewer, more powerful units. And so both those things coupled together, I think, really make it a strong gameplay dynamic.
So it's making people work more on strategy as opposed to building up the biggest force you can get and then go demolishing the enemy with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So that I can see is definitely should work well, because I know a lot of people that just like to build up these enormous armies and then go and kill you with them. But without that, it makes the people that aren't quite as good at building up, the massive amount of units, those people will have a much better chance because they'll be able to get the units they like and they use, and the other person will be able to almost have the same amount of units, and it won't be so lopsided. It'll just work more on strategy.
Well, we definitely have seen through the beta test and through just bringing people in that have never even played the game, for example, what we've seen really happen is the fact that players can still build up really big armies, but they have to be of the lower levels, the type of units, the more kind of ground entry-level units. And if you can properly manage your forces, you actually will do better with less units because you can use their abilities a lot more easily, and they're much more powerful. So you can still use much more of what we kind of think of as a StarCraft style of play, but if you go up against a player who knows what they're doing and basically someone who's probably of equal ability, they're going to get a lot more out of using the fewer, bigger units.
That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about it that way. Since upkeep has to do, with the amount of units, is there like a max amount of units you can have for the game?
Right now, there is a food cap of 90. So, I mean, obviously, it's not 90 units, but different units of different sizes take different amounts of food to maintain them. So there is a cap that people hit, and you can actually build up a fairly sizable force with that.
Is that gonna be the same cap for the finished game?
Yeah, that's actually what we're testing with right now. So unless something happens in the next few days that makes us want to change that, that's what we'll be doing.
So yeah, 90 doesn't seem like too much, but you know, when you think of that many units actually like on the screen and stuff, that can be quite a bit.
Actually, and it's pretty interesting. I think when people kind of first hear that number, they tend to feel that maybe it's not going to be enough. But what we have found is that as you really go through and play, you do get a really good sense for the fact that it is a good number. It's actually you can build up a good sized force that isn't, but you still care about all the units and what they do, and that's definitely a gameplay dynamic that we really wanted to have in Warcraft 3.
Huh. Let's see. Going back to the millions and millions of IMs I've been getting, trying to sort through them all is a task in itself. For the the multiplayer online portion of Warcraft 3, have you guys considered actually charging for people to be able to use Battle.net, or are you guys going to be keeping that free?
Well, with Warcraft 3, we definitely are still keeping our free model. We don't want to charge people to play over Battle.net for War 3. We know that that's something that people are very used to with our products. For us, we always feel it takes something somewhat extraordinary. In our case, we're not looking to charge at all, except for World of Warcraft, because it's a massive multiplayer game on which we will keep a live team long after the product ships to continue to grow and build and maintain the world. But with Warcraft 3, we definitely are looking for that to stay a free service where you can just go on to Battle.net and play anybody else for free.
It's just sort of an added feature people get for buying the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to the single-player campaign style, how's that going to work? Is that going to be like with the how StarCraft did it, where you work on one race and then once that gets done, you can move on to the next?
Yes, it is. It's exactly that kind of storyline. You start with the human campaign, and then go through a large epic storyline that you see as the story unfolds through the eyes of the different races. That was kind of a way of storytelling we came up with StarCraft, and really liked the way that worked. And so it's a lot of fun to go through and kind of see the evolution of the world and the story and the characters as you then play each of the different races.
So you sort of are forced to play one race all the way through to be able to get to the other one?
Yes.
So I guess some people like that, some people don't. I've heard some people say that they don't like being forced to play one race all the way through because they'll get stuck at like the last map and won't be able to get past it or something, because they don't want to cheat or anything to get past it.
Right.
But I think it works for me in that it's, you sort of really learn one race good, and then once you know that one, you can move to another one, and you learn them all without just jumping back and forth a million times and getting confused.
Well, we've found that it does work really well. I think for the most part, people do really enjoy being able to go through and play each race and really kind of learn it as a whole, and then be able to kind of gain that expertise as they go through and play through and get a complete part of the story before they move on to the next thing.
So, once you complete the first campaign, is the second campaign going to be taking place at the same time, or is it going to be right after it, or?
It all ties in together. So it's
like how the StarCraft one did.
Yeah, exactly.
You did one, and then the next one sort of tied into information you learned from the first one.
Yeah, that's exactly how that works.
I think they took place like right after each other, or pretty close to it, or something like that.
It's all basically one long story. So events happen, fairly sequentially as you go through the campaign.
Are there like certain missions you can do in each campaign that maybe has like optional components that if you don't complete changes something later on?
There definitely is parts of the campaign that build upon each other, and you can definitely see how it all ties in. I think more than anything, really, what we tried to do with the campaign was to present a very thorough storyline that would be interesting and exciting for players to experience, and then there are definitely optional things you can do that have effects mainly on your character and the items he can get, the equipment he has, different abilities he might be able to learn more quickly. But we have a lot of optional quests as you go through. So there definitely are ways for you to kind of get as much or as little of the role-playing elements as you want to as you go through and play the game. But they are a lot of fun, and we've found that people really, really enjoy them.
So if you miss some of the optional components, you might make it a little bit harder for yourself later on when you don't have this item that'll help you do something.
Yeah, that definitely is a possibility.
That's definitely going to make people want to make sure they do everything. I try to when I can, but a lot of times it just seems like you spend forever on one mission, and then you're like, okay, I am almost done. I have 5 more optional things to do. Oh.
Yeah, we've definitely tried to keep it a little sane in the amount of optional things that get done. But they definitely do help quite a lot on building up what the world is like and making it a very fun and complete place.
I have somebody that wants to know about the BattleNet ladder icons. I guess right now there's 10, 100, 250, and 1,000. They want to know if you're going to be implementing any more different icons, because I guess the 750 jump is pretty big.
Well, we definitely can do a lot more. Those are the ones we have in for the beta right now, and we certainly have the ability to continue to add that type of thing well after the game ships. And so I think that that's something we can look at later if there seems to be a better division of things in regards to how much we want to display. We can easily do that.
So it's almost one of those more cosmetic changes that's just easy to do, later after the fact.
Yeah, and it definitely ties in with the ranking system, but at the same time, it is something that we can alter after the game has come out.
So I'm sure you're probably not doing it, because 750 is a pretty big jump.
Yeah, we definitely, that's again one of the things that we will, is always going to be in our list of things to look at to make sure that we're, addressing well and correctly, and make sure that we're keeping that kind of stuff very fun.
Here's a good question about Warcraft 3. You've been taking a long time to make this game. It's been known about for quite a few, I don't know exactly when it was first known about, but probably at least a few years. What's been the main complication that's been taking so long?
Well, I think really the biggest thing we've done is just wanted to take enough time to make the game as really just complete as possible, to ensure that when the game comes out, people are going to be completely amazed with it, and that's a lot of work. We're trying to do a lot of things. Actually, one of the things that I've always talked about is that with Warcraft 3, really what we're seeing to some extent even is that we're making actually almost 4 different products. We've got an incredibly complex and rich single-player campaign. We've got the multiplayer game, which has all new features on BattleNet, ladders that are team and guild ladders. There's guild support. There's all kinds of new chat things. So that's been a whole chunk of work all by itself. Then there's the editor that comes with the game that lets you basically redo anything and everything that ships with the game. It's the same editor we use to build every single mission. If you open up a map that does something cool that you want to do, you can see all the triggers, you can cut and paste triggers, you can alter everything about every single aspect of the game. And then there's over 20 minutes of movie quality cinematic sequences. So it's an incredibly big project, and hopefully what we're going to see is that when people do get the game and start playing it, that they'll realize where all that time went to.
Yeah, so you're saying about the map editor, you can change every single thing and actually go in there and look at how you guys did something?
Yep, you can open up any map that you get. You can see how all the triggers were done, how we did things with the camera movement, and then you can do all those things yourself. You can do the in-game cinematic sequences. All the sound and music files are MP3 format, so if you want to do your own campaigns and have your own voice acting, you can do that and easily make files to put in. You can change the abilities of units, the prerequisites for making them, what their upgrades are, what they do, what they look like, the unit size, the unit color, that's translucency. Since it's 3D, there's a full map editor. It's amazingly complete and really fairly simple to use. And so I think it's a great thing. We had the map designers working hand in hand with the programmers on it, and so what we got was a tool that was really designed by people that make maps. And so it's a great thing for people to be able to use.
So basically, somebody could go and make a campaign, at the same quality of the campaigns that actually come with the game.
Well, we think that we are going to see some people who are very good and are going to work very hard to make some amazing campaigns. It should be something that's going to be a lot of fun to watch people do. The campaigns, the creativity that we've seen in our other products with StarCraft, even with Diablo 2, as people have done stuff with that, is great. And to be able to provide such a complete tool for them to use, to be able to go in and modify the game to really meet their own artistic vision and their own desires, we're really expecting to see some just incredible things come out of the community.
So will people be able to actually, for example, use the map editor, change the units and everything to the point where it's like, it looks like a Middle-earth mod or something, just completely different. The orcs are no longer, orcs. They look like some other midget type something.
Yeah, we definitely will have the ability to do a lot of things like that. I mean, we've done it in the campaign. People will be able to do it when they get the product. You can there's units even in the very first missions that you'll see where, for example, in the first human mission, there's bandits that you fight against. And basically all we did was we took the footman model, changed it so it was tinted more towards red, changed the sizes on it, gave it some different abilities. Really, if you wanted to, you could make a town hall that flew, collected its own gold, and shot fireballs. You can do anything with it. It's really a lot of fun to play around with.
Ooh, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that part, because I know a few people that have made some really good mods for other games, and I'm sure they'll be doing the same thing with Warcraft 3 when they get it. There's been just some unbelievable mods that have come out for some games and maps and everything. So
we saw a lot of people make some great maps for StarCraft, and of course, we've made our own mods, around the office for other games like Half-Life and so on, and we know that there's a very strong mod community there that people love to tap into, and so we really wanted to try to give those people something to play with apart from the game.
So, moving on to another since we're running a little bit low on time, let's see how many we can get through before the time runs out.
Okay.
In terms of like BattleNet and stuff, how are you guys going to prevent all the people like hacking it and just hacking the program in general? What have you guys sort of implemented?
Well, we've done a lot of stuff. We actually have excuse me. We actually have in the way that we've set up the network architecture for Warcraft 3, BattleNet works almost like a judge or an arbiter in games, where if you're playing, especially in high-level ladder games or tournaments, BattleNet's always running the game along with you and making sure that things are happening correctly. And that's one of the things we've done. Also, the game is, by nature, in some ways, much less hackable. Other ways that we found people, what they wrote hacks for example, like seeing the map all the time, not necessarily knowing where units were, but just knowing what the map looked like. We've kind of gotten away from people that need to do that. After you explore areas, you still remember what the area looks like. We actually show you what the map looks like before you start playing. So there's really no need to gain any information that somebody wouldn't already have, because we kind of tell you that stuff up front.
You just can't see the units and where the other person's base is and how it's set up.
I mean, really the biggest thing where we found a lot of the reason why people wrote map pack programs for StarCraft, for example, is because they wanted to know what the map looked like. If they were playing on a map that was unfamiliar to them, they wanted to right away know what the map looked like. And so when you start a game of Warcraft 3, the map is right there. We show you a little mini version of the map when you're loading the game up, so you can easily know where things are going to be, where the resources are located, and so basically what it comes down to is how you get to resources, how you use your tactics and strategies, and you don't feel like you have to gain some advantage over the other person because they know the map or don't know the map.
So everybody will be able to see what the map looks like, and they just don't know where the other people start.
Right.
One thing that a lot of people like to do is actually record the games they play with other players, and then watch them through and see what they did wrong or see what the other players did good, and to learn. Do you guys have any kind of features like that in Warcraft 3?
We do. We've got a replay feature built into the game, which is actually a lot of fun. Anytime you finish a game, you can save a replay off, whether that's single player or multiplayer, and then you can trade those files around. They're really small, and anybody can load that up in Warcraft 3 and actually watch everything that happened. They can see all sides. They can leave Fog of War on or turn Fog of War off. They can really use that to not only, I think, gain a lot of insight as to other people's strategies and tactics, but it's also a great way to kind of brag amongst your friends. If you played somebody who you know is a good player and you beat him, you can then email the game to everybody so they can see exactly what you did.
So you said small files. So all this it doesn't really actually take a picture of what's going on. It just says that this is what's happening, and then the actual the Warcraft 3 program will say, okay, well, if it's this unit number, then that corresponds to this picture, and it'll sort of just redo the whole game. Basically,
what it's doing is it's giving you what the commands are. The game is kind of acting as a player in that regard, almost like a VCR. So what you're really seeing is the game replayed over using the engine. So the reason the files can be so small is that we're really just issuing the commands in the game and executing them all. So it's not like it's an AVI or a movie file, which has to be really big.
It's almost like a text file or something. Something basic.
I mean, it's basically we're saving off a lot of data formats and all the commands that are given and the keystrokes and the mouse clicks, and then we're using the Word 3 engine to interpret those and replay them back for you.
So, okay, going on, I guess part of recording is some people like to just be there and observe. What exactly is the purpose of giving people the ability just to be an observer? Do they get any special things, maybe add a little bit more role play feature by making them sort of a god, and they can say put this creature here or something, or do they just sit back and just watch?
Well, I think really the biggest thing people get out of an observer mode is to watch what people are doing, really doing in the game. I mean, it also is a nice way to act as an arbiter for games, to make sure that if you're playing a match that's important, for example, in a tournament. You can make sure that things are kosher, everybody's playing right, I guess, however you want to look at it. And it's definitely something that we found that people really wanted out of StarCraft, and so we wanted to find a way to make sure that we could give them that, and they could have a way to play the game and not only experience things like with the replay and sending their friends, but if somebody was there in real time and wanted to actually watch it, kind of like the difference between seeing a sporting event live or watching it, tape delay, we could give them both those options.
So you could almost be like somebody who was actually physically there watching a sports game as opposed to watching a recording.
Right.
Oh, that's an interesting. I never thought of it that way. That's kind of cool. One last question, because it's really quick. Somebody wants to know if players on Diablo 2 or like StarCraft or any of I guess I think it's for Battle.net, will have like their own animated portrait when you double-click the icon, like the Barbarian for D2?
Not quite in the chat room.
I'm not quite sure what that exactly. That's exactly what it says. Is ask if players on D2 or SC/VW, etc., will have their own animated portrait when you double-click on their icon, such as a Barbarian, in parentheses, War 3 Enhanced for D2.
I'm guessing if they're talking about the chat room, they won't. Though we will make sure that in D2, people will know if you're playing War 3. So I don't know if that answers their question or not. Hopefully it does.
Hopefully it does. Well, it gotta go. It's hours up. Thanks for coming, Bill. It's been a great time. Hold on, I want to talk to you once we get off the air.
Sure.
I hope you had a good time. I know I did, and I learned a lot. And I'm pretty sure everybody else did, because I've been getting a lot of IMs, and they've been changing as some of their questions have been answered. There were a lot that we weren't able to get to, though, unfortunately. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Listening again next week and future weeks. We'll still be here. My name is Chris. This is the Gaming Files on WXBH, AM 1190, the Talk Station.